So we want to continue the conversation and continue to talk about the story that has dominated the conversation, not only here locally, but across the country, and that is the deadly stabbing on the light rail here in Charlotte back on August 22nd. So today we heard from, once again, because Jesse Pierre spoke to Malcolm Graham yesterday, but again, today we heard from Malcolm Graham, Charlotte City Councilman. He held a press conference addressing numerous things, including transit safety and the concerns surrounding that. He held that news conference in Uptown. WCNC Charlotte's Walker Lawson, you were there, man, for that press conference. Yeah. So I mentioned it. He talked about transit safety, but he also talked about a list of other things within, I guess, under the city's umbrella. Talk about that.
Yeah, well, when you look at this issue, it obviously, for a lot of people, is boiled down to mental health and just really addressing the system. And so he spoke about an array of safety changes that he would like to see. Obviously, we have corridors of opportunities throughout the city of Charlotte. He would like to see continued economic development and investment. He says economic development sometimes helps to deter some of these issues that you see happening in some of these areas. Again, better lighting and cameras. Obviously, we've heard about those screens they're trying to build across the city that will have cameras inside of them, and a stronger court system, of course. So again, we kind of talk about what happened with him getting out and being released. And so he listed off an array of things. But obviously, the big thing he really mentioned too is CMPD's presence across the city and really having more people on these trains. Again, we had Jesse Pierre ride the train yesterday. She said she saw an increase of presence. And I was talking to you just before the break. You know, he had this press conference at a bus station, one that we've done stories on that they are moving the businesses out of, and they are planning on revitalizing it. We haven't seen any plans for it yet, but making it to where riders can only be in the property if they have tickets, which is kind of what you're now seeing with the increased security on trains. But today, I mean, we even saw a large presence there.
You mentioned it. You were talking about that earlier.
Like 1 or 2 security guards per door. The Moxie Hotel that they just built next door, they had security on the corners there. I've never seen such a presence, and I'm from Charlotte, and I've been to that bus station a lot. And when driving around to different events, I've never seen a presence like that. So we're really starting to see a large security presence across the city, but there's also other issues that he wants to address as well.
I know there are long, I mean, we could be here for hours talking about it, but what was, I guess, out of the other issues that he spoke about, what stuck out for you? What are some of the issues, what another issue that stuck out for you?
For me, I think it was, he mentioned also looking at places to house people that are homeless or people that are dealing with addiction and substance abuse. Of course, we have seen, he mentioned a residential space that would have 300 people. Before I came here, I worked in the city of Columbia, and they had multiple housing places. Now, they were in downtown Columbia, but that allowed them to have a place where they could walk around and still do stuff and be in the city, and it kept them close to public transit or things like that. So again, just trying to address maybe having an area for them to live and to be able to get food and to be able to get help with substance abuse. So I thought that was interesting, but it's one of those things, you know, the question is, who's paying for it? Who is doing what? And that is the big question. And he said, you know, he doesn't have a specific answer on that yet. He's looking at resolutions to bring before city council, but he said it falls on all of them. It falls on city council, it falls on the state level, it falls on the federal level. So he said he can only control what comes out of Charlotte City Council and not Raleigh or DC. And so that was his big point, is this is a vision of what we should be looking to do to not only address transit safety, but to address safety for all residents in the city of Charlotte.
Again, that's Walker Lawson covering a gambit of issues that were addressed during that press
conference.
A lot. We talked about it during the break. how long that agenda was. Some important issues, obviously, here in the city of Charlotte. Walker, before I let you go, when can folks check out your story?
5:30 tonight.
5:30.
I'll have the full array of topics as quick as I can.
A lot to cover, but we have faith in you, Walker.
Yeah.
You know you can get the job done. Walker, thank you for your time.
Yeah,
You can catch the story at 5:30. And for those who missed that press conference, we brought it to you here live on Live Impact News. We want to play it out for you in case you missed that press conference from earlier today. Let's take a listen in.
Make a red remarks, and then I'll answer some questions thereafter. I generally do these media huddles, as I call them, or roundups, and I would get maybe 2 or 3 people here. And so obviously the moment is being met by current events. So I will read this my release, and then I'll answer any questions that anybody may have. Charlotte must confront safety concerns head on. Public safety is our city's top priority, and too many citizens in our community don't feel safe. As I have said many times, if you don't feel safe, then you're not. Far too many Charlotte residents share this concern in uptown, in their neighborhoods, in uptown parking garages, in our public spaces like parks, schools, and increasingly on our transit station and our lines. All of these spaces shape our quality of life as we go about our daily routines. The tragic murder on Charlotte transit system underscores the urgency of the issue. Our community should never have to question whether getting on a train or waiting at a train station will put their safety at risk. The incident is a stark reminder that public safety must remain at the forefront of our city's priorities. Yesterday, I rode the light rail myself and toured one of our busiest transit stations. I spoke directly with riders, listened to their concerns, and saw firsthand what so many of them are experiencing each and every day. Their message was clear. They want to feel safe. They want to see more visible CMPD officers, not just occasionally, but consistently, on trains, on the buses, at the stations, on the platforms, and throughout the transit system. As community leaders, we have an obligation to address these concerns, both the perception of crime and the reality of it. Simply, there's no choice but to meet this moment with clarity of purpose, by addressing root causes, admitting our shortcomings where they exist, and listening to community voices and acting swiftly to regain public confidence. We must block out the outside noise and focus on the urgent work in front of us. It would be a mistake to focus only on transit safety, though it is important. Instead, we must take a holistic approach that strengthens safety throughout the entire city. In uptown, in our corridors of opportunities, in our neighborhoods, parks, schools, and beyond. Residents deserve to feel secure where they live, work, learn, or play. Public safety is not only about law enforcement, it's also about prevention and intervention and compassion. But law enforcement also requires focus and accountability. And that means in our community, we need less guns and more cops. We need to expand the visibility of CMPD in our trains and our stations. We must implement targeted, enhanced enforcement in hotspot areas, such as Catherine Simmons off of Beattyford Road. We must hold businesses accountable when they allow illegal drug activity on their properties. We must crack down on absentee property owners who leave their properties unattended, creating environments where drugs are sold and neighborhoods suffer. We must continue to support alternative to violence programs that work with those at most risk. We must strengthen gang prevention initiatives and investing in youth programs that provide young people with mentorship, opportunities, and safe pathways. We desperately need to build a 300-bed residential facility for the unhoused that includes wraparound service and mental health, workforce development, and addiction treatment, because addressing homelessness is a public safety strategy as well and a moral obligation. We must improve lighting throughout the city, cameras, design in our parking garages and public space to reduce vulnerability. Also, we must continue to invest in our corridors of opportunities, because economic growth and community investments are crime prevention strategies as well. We must also confront the real and pressing issues of mental health and substance abuse. These challenges fuel many of the safety concerns our residents are experiencing. Charlotte cannot address this problem alone. We must work closely with our major healthcare providers and with the Mecklenburg County Health Department to expand access to treatment, counseling, crisis intervention. This is not only a public health issue, but also one of the most urgent public safety issues our community is facing. Finally, we cannot do this without strong support from the state of North Carolina. Our district attorney's office is underfunded and understaffed. We need more prosecutors, more major court sessions, more resource for information technology to process the rising caseloads. Without that support, too many criminals slip through the system, eroding public trust and safety. As chairman of the city's Jobs and Economic Development Committee, I also know that public safety is tied directly to our city's ability to recruit and retain major employers. Companies looking for cities where their employees feel safe, working in community environments are secure. Safety concerns undermine our competitive edge if they go unaddressed. At the same time, we must continue to tackle affordability by working through aggressive workforce development programs with all our major employees. By expanding job training, apprenticeship opportunities, and pathways into high-demand careers, we can ensure Charlottines are prepared for tomorrow's economy while keeping our city livable for working families. Let me be clear. We also must close the revolving door for repeat offenders. Too many of the crimes that disrupt our neighborhoods and transit system are committed by individuals who cycle through the system over and over and over again. This cannot continue. Accountability must be certain, swift, and fair. Our residents deserve nothing less. Charlotte is a growing, vibrant city, and our success depends on residents feeling safe in their daily lives. That requires honesty, transparency, and more importantly, action. By combining stronger, targeted law enforcement with robust community support programs addressing mental health and substance abuse, demanding the resources we need from the state, investing in workforce development opportunities, and closing the door for repeat offenders, we can restore public confidence and create a city where safety is not an aspiration, but a reality for every neighborhood. I've been serving this community for over 25 years. 10 years as a state senator, 10 years as a council member, a congressional candidate. This is a moment in time for our community. Our community is a great community. I love Charlotte. I love the people. I love our vibe, our attitude. But it's okay to admit that we got some warts as well. And one is making sure that the most basic principle foundation of a community is the ability to feel safe. And I'm committed to that. I'm committed to working with any federal partners that wants to be involved with what we're doing here locally. I'm open to any investigations that the feds may do or the state want to do. I'm certain that we will pass the test and meet the bar. And if there's some things that we aren't doing that we should do better, I'm committed to doing that as well. I am going to block out all the noise and focus on things I can control. Can't control what's coming out of DC, and I won't. can't control what's coming out of Raleigh, and I won't. But I can't control what the Charlotte City Council does. I can control what my actions are, and that's me showing up, taking accountability, working for community consensus, listening to the residents, and try to solve problems as they occur.
All right, so you're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. That is the press conference this morning with Charlotte City Councilman Malcolm Graham hitting on a variety of topics, including transit safety. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.